Karma doesn't really mean that exactly what you did will happen to you. You could embezzle money and your life is cut short. You could embezzle money and your children become sick. That's the karma belief.
This karma thing is not a thing that happens in real life. You might say this person's life was cut short, but there are poor people who are suffering who their lives are still cut short.
Traditionalists are simply people who believe in the ancient tradition of their people. We have just one God and we have different gateways. Christianity somehow has painted tradition to be voodoo.
Black people were slaves in America for like 400 plus years. Even though most of the people at the time were religious, they couldn't say that it was the Bible that justified their freedom from slavery. It was secular thinking. All those countless generations, somebody who be born a slave, who die a slave, his descendants will be slaves for 400 plus years. What is justice for them?
Karma. The real karma. What is karma real? I'm going to start from Chijioke on my left. Can I ask, what's your view on karma? Is it real?
I think it's just wishful thinking. It's not a thing that happens in real life. We have seen many situations where bad people do bad things and they get away with it with no repercussions, and I don't think there's any evidence whatsoever to prove that that's the case.
So, do you think karma is real?
Very real.
I love it. I love the way that we started today like this. MCMbakara. Later, I'm going to ask you whether Akara is involved in the formula of his name. But very quickly, let's dive into it. General understanding of what karma was, I was explained to us growing up, is the justice that one gets after doing something bad, or if someone does something good, whatever happens to you is good karma. I think that's my opinion of what karma is. Do you mind explaining your own understanding of karma?
I think people usually, especially religious people who could subscribe to spiritual stuff, they usually think that the universe somehow balances things out, and that when you do good, good comes back to you always, and when you do bad, bad always comes back to you in one form or another. I disagree with that, because a lot of life experiences, not just for me, but just looking at the way things happen around the world, that's a lot of evidence against karma, whether it's for good or for bad.
Okay, so you were about to...
So I feel karma is real, and so for me, definition of karma is simply whatever you sow, you reap, right? So karma is in all facets of life, even in businesses, right? If you do good, you definitely get good things in return. Does it mean bad things will not come? No. Yes, it will come. Definitely bad things will come your way. But if you're a good person, you definitely have more of good things coming your way than the bad experiences. So karma is very, very relatable. It's practical. Everybody experiences it. So if you do business, right, you invest in a business, you expect a return. So it's still another form of karma, right? So everything we do has a karma ingredient in everything we do. If you are nice to people, it's just like smiling. If you see people and smile at them, they will smile back almost immediately. These are still the law of karma. Whatever you sow, you receive. So for me, I feel there's no point saying karma. Karma is not an illusion. It's a reality. It happens every day, even now.
All right. I'm going to do a question to you based on that. When political leaders do bad things, do they receive any karma for the bad things that they do? All right. Thank you very much for that answer. I want to ask you.
Nobody do.
Obviously, that's not true.
What do you think about that?
Obviously, that's not true. During the Nigerian Civil War, I think the president of Nigeria at the time was
Go on.
right? Okay. So I think due to some policies he made, I don't know if I'll call it a policy, but he blocked the Biafran border at some point, and more than 2 million, 3 million children starved to death. And I think wasn't a risk. Okay, no, that was IBB, not Gowon, but I think Gowon is still alive today, and he's wealthy, he's doing well. Most of us will not even live to be as old as Gowon is. Most of us will never be as wealthy as he is. So, I don't know.
So
Over to you, Mbakara.
No, first of all, I agree with you. But so it doesn't necessarily mean that if I did a particular stuff, that karma is going to come back in that same format. Now, he might be there. You don't know what he's dealing with. You don't know if he has a serious health issue that has been draining him over time. You don't even know if he has sleepless nights. You don't know the things he's passing through. I mean, I'm trying to talk about, because you now mentioned Babangida and mentioned Gowon, so I don't even know the person.
No, I wanted to reference Gowon because Babangida just launched a book recently. But that was
and he said you can feel free to mention.
No, that was a mistake. That was not related to.
It's okay. It's also connected because he launched the book, and when he was launching the book, he admitted publicly for the first time that he did some funny business with the Abiola. Well, and he still made, I think, close to 17 billion on the night that he launched that book. All right. So which karma happened in that place?
So that's the point. Now, there are many records that you are not aware of. You don't know down his lineage what he has been through. Either him in person, his children, his wife. Something must have happened that must have linked him up to this incident too as well. So that was not published, and we are not aware of that. So karma doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, in the case of, since we are talking about leadership, in the case of Sani Abacha, back in the days, so most people, we heard so many stories of, it was Apollo, it was this, it was that. So people felt karma came very early in that incident. So that was a visible karma, perhaps for us.
But his family is still richer than we probably will ever be.
Where is he? How did he end up?
Okay. So I think...
Let me give another example. Are you familiar with Nikola Tesla?
No.
The famous... he was the one that invented AC current that we use today. And I'm sure you know Thomas Edison.
Yeah.
The person that is credited with inventing the light bulb, even though he did not. But during Nikola Tesla's lifetime, Nikola Tesla was a very brilliant scientist. He came up with a lot of things, the remote control. Like, he had lots of patents. He was an extremely brilliant guy. And, his goal was to just do things for the betterment of humanity, not chasing money and stuff like that. But Edison was a ruthless businessman. He just even when Tesla worked for him initially. So Tesla, I think, he was a Serbian, so when he came to the United States, after he dropped out of university, he started working for not Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison. And then he helped Thomas Edison perfect the DC currents. And after he finished it, Thomas Edison initially promised him $50,000. And when Nikola Tesla finished, Edison told him that he didn't understand American humor. Right? So that one passed. Then when he invented AC currents, Thomas Edison tried everything humanly possible to discredit him, even though it eventually worked. He even tested it on an elephant, and the elephants got electrocuted, different stuff. Then eventually, Nikola Tesla, when he left Thomas Edison eventually, and he joined, I can't remember the company he joined again, but he joined the company and he signed away some of his rights to his patents for AC current and other things to a particular businessman, and he was getting royalties from it, right? So later on, the businessman started having some problems. Then he came to Nikola Tesla and told him that, please, can you reduce your royalties so that my business can stay good. So then Nikola Tesla tore up the papers and was like, you know what, just give me whatever you like. It doesn't matter. So eventually that didn't work well for Nikola Tesla because Nikola Tesla died broke in a hotel at the age of 80. Just Google Nikola Tesla when he was older. You see him, someone that invented so many things, that was a very wealthy man, ended up dying broke, looking like someone that hadn't eaten for, months and weeks at the time that he died. And it's even recently that people are still talking about Nikola Tesla again. The Tesla car you hear about is named after Nikola Tesla. But even prior to maybe 30, 40 years ago, Thomas Edison was the far more brilliant person. He's the person they teach about in schools. They always tell us that he never gave up. He tried 1,000 times, 10,000 times to invent the light bulb. And he's the person that is more favorably remembered for winning the electrical award, person that created the electrical distributions that we use around the world today and all that stuff. And where is his karma? No karma there. But Nikola Tesla, that was always trying his best to do the best for humanity. He spent all his money trying to generate some free electricity for humanity, died broke. That was due to some of his bad business acumen, to be honest. But at the end of the day, how would somebody that was so brilliant, so kind, just trying to do the best for humanity, how would that kind of bad karma, someone that did only good, how would that kind of thing come to him? Meanwhile, a ruthless person like Thomas Edison, no karma.
Okay, so that's, I think that's where there's a little mix up here. Being smart and being foolish in business are two different things. So that you were being naive and you were dumb in a business transaction. So it's just like people praying for football. You want to win a game and you are praying. It's practice. Business is business. So it has nothing to do with karma here now. That was somebody who made a dumb decision. So you don't say he was trying to be good. He was not smart in business. So he got the reward. He got the karma of not being smart. I don't know if you get
No, but the point
he was not smart.
We are talking about morality here.
But it was good.
We are talking about morality.
So karma, so that's the point now. So we are trying to paint karma to only be when you do good and you do bad. In business, he wasn't wise in business. So even if you were good, so it's just like saying, I'm an investor and then I get my profit and I'm dashing everybody on the street and my business crumble. You say that was good.
What kind of investor is it?
Do you understand? So he wasn't smart in his decisions. So you do not expect things to be good for you. A lot of people who are broke today are broke, or they were rich and became broke. They were broke because of the bad decisions they made or the bad investment they made. So you can't practically bring karma in this area. There was a smarter person over there who took advantage of his dumbness, and that's why his name was big. So now where did his own good karma come after all? Just like you mentioned, the Tesla car that was named after him, it came after 40 years. So karma still came back.
Not 40 years old, much more than, but then the karma still came back.
But
to be fair,
but he came back.
Yeah, but he didn't reap any of it in his lifetime. Who does that kind of karma help? Do you want after 100 years they name something after you and you die hungry?
But karma came.
No, I'm just asking you, would you like that to be of it?
No, but that was just business. So
Tesla is not benefiting from it directly. That's my point.
I understand your point. And I think that there are lots of solid points on your side. There are lots of solid points on your side as well. I'd just like to drive the conversation a bit more further. Let's just go a bit more deeper into it. And let's talk about the role of justice and karma in religion versus modern legal systems. So now let's talk about people actually doing bad things. Like, at least this one is business, so you have a defense in this business one now. So let's imagine people who do commit very heinous crimes. Adolf Hitler is very, very high on that spectrum. But let's just imagine someone who kills another person. O.J. Simpson. Let's talk about O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson, I think, was accused of killing his wife. The evidence was against him. But because of some technicalities, we all know how the legal justice system is. Because of some technicalities, he came out innocent and they declared him innocent, even though almost the whole world knew that he wasn't innocent. Does that make sense? So, how does karma affect situations like that? I also want to talk about religion. You know how every religion has their opinion of justice. For instance, in Christendom, if you commit a crime, you go to hellfire. If you do something very bad, hellfire. As a traditionalist, if you do something bad, what's the reward for doing something bad? What's justice according to a traditionalist? Then I'm going to ask as a free thinker too. Is there any form of justice in the universe? Can we start from you, please?
Okay, so
can you also answer, not only as a traditionalist, because you are also a Christian, so can you answer from the viewpoint of being both a traditionalist and a Christian?
All right. So, okay. How am I a traditionalist and I'm a Christian? Now, because first of all, who is a traditionalist? So, I think people misunderstand being a traditionalist and voodoo. And then being a Christian too. So, Christianity somehow has painted tradition to be voodoo. But no, traditionalists are simply people who believe in the ancient tradition of their people. And for me, I didn't came prepared. I was thinking that was the first question they're going to ask. So I came prepared. I'm a chief. I'm not just one, a double chief. And I became a chief I think when I was 33, and I've been the youngest chief. We are about 5. I'm the 5th in the whole community. Now I do everything, all the rights. And like I said, we had a conversation before, and I said, as traditionalists, if you go deep into tradition, you see that both the traditionalist and the Christian are doing almost the same thing. We have just one God, and we have different gateway. So the Yoruba might say, Ogun, right, is Yoruba, one of the gods in Yoruba, yeah. So we call our own Igu. And then other states and other traditions have their different. The Igbos have Amadioha. But at the end of the day, both people, from my tedious research, are actually serving one God. Because everything we don't do as in the tradition is what you don't do over there as Christians as well. So the God does not permit you to kill another man. It doesn't. The God doesn't allow you to steal. In my community, the God does not allow you to do abortion. So if you get pregnant, you are going to give birth to that baby. So every good thing is not accepted by the gods of my community. Every bad thing, rather. Only good things. And then the gods is ones that, as at when we were younger, we that grew up in the village, that you can't even sleep with a woman outside anywhere there's no roof. Knowing to where that young people can always go to the grass or to the field or to the farm. So there were laws, and all the laws in my community by the gods were all laws that helped the community in a positive way. And they say if you kill somebody, they come to cry to the gods, the person will die back. The person that killed will die. So we don't know if it happened or not, but the truth is people were scared because they were scared of the gods. But since the Christian came and took most of the gods away from those points, people started dying out of reckless abortions. A lot of things. We started having unwanted pregnancy everywhere. So, for me, as a traditionalist, I follow the culture, the belief of my people. And that's what I do. And as a Christian, I also believe that both parties are serving the same God. I said something once the first time we had a conversation, that if you check, you hear the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Check, there is no poor man in that line. And it was everybody that did great things in the history of the Bible. And if you go to my community, you check, or any community when they are pouring libation, they will never call anybody that was not impactful in the community. So you see, we are doing the same thing. When we sow seed to the gods, it is the dibia or the native doctor that eats it. When we sow to the church, it's still the pastor. Okay, so let's not go.
Hey, don't they go? Hey.
So
don't they mash am?
No, but the truth is,
mash am.
Everything we do in the church is what we do as tradition. We sow seed. When you go to church and sow a seed for promotion, we go give goats. We go give that's actually quite interesting. So we are doing the same thing in different
ways.
Formats. So everybody is actually serving one God at the end of the day.
Hence, not divided, just different.
Just different.
I get it.
So,
I get it.
So today I can decide to when I go to the village as a chief, I go give my kola to the gods. I give my goats. I drop something for the gods because the gods have to eat. And then on Sunday when I go back, because I play masquerade, I play all this stuff. When I finish on Sunday, I go back to church. And I give my seed there in church. Everybody's happy. There's no problem. And I have practiced this for more than 20 years now. And we are all fine. Nothing has changed.
So my producer says I should ask him, who is Jesus to him, even though that's off topic.
Because he is a Christian
Yeah.
and he's a traditionalist.
Yeah.
And he's keeping the same sacrifice.
Yeah.
But as a Christian,
Yeah.
Christians believe that the sacrifice was Jesus died for us. That's what I'm asking. So it's not off topic. Just to finalize that you're talking.
Okay, so let's finalize it.
My
So,
producer wants us to finalize, just for people at home. She say, who is Jesus to you in Bakara?
Jesus is the Son of God.
Okay.
Yeah. As a Christian.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. But I beg to plead with Christianity and Christendom that Jesus is not the only way to God. If not, if Jesus was the only way to God, so what happens to the Muslim? What happens to the Buddhist? So that's a very big argument I've argued all my life, and I know my wife will watch this. We've argued this in the house until we just decided to pipe low. Jesus is an access to God, not the only way. And so I found when most times Christians put banner when I used to be in Abuja and say Jesus is the only way. I say this is religious intolerance. You have to allow others believe. And even the Constitution said we all have right to believe. So that's why constitutionally I'm not wrong.
Producer, I hope you hear.
I can believe in my tradition and believe in what the Christian believes as well, because I have a right to choice and right to believe. So do not say yours is the best.
Or yours is the only one.
Yours is the only one. And then, so every other person, meaning the Muslim, the traditionalists, the atheists, everybody will go to hellfire. Perhaps, if there is hell. That's not.
Okay. I mean, I like that. I'm going to put a pin on that.
Okay. We'll come back
because
to
we are coming back to that.
Yeah.
And tracing it back to my question about when people do bad deeds.
Yeah.
What is justice in your opinion? What is justice to you when people do bad, apart from the modern legal system? Because not everybody who does bad actually faces the wrath of the law. Can I just have you on this first? When people do bad deeds, not every time, how does the universe in itself get justice for people who bad deeds have been done to? I mean, I don't want to believe. Okay, I'm going to ask, do you think that there's no such thing as justice, especially when people do bad?
Justice is a man-made concept. That's what it is, right? So an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You can find it in different cultures across all of different human civilizations. It's not a thing that the universe owes you. The universe has no obligation to make sense to anybody. The universe is just happening.
It just is.
So, we live on one planet. If anybody thinks that the universe is aligning for one small dot in, a very large and vast universe, that person is obviously solely mistaken. So, I don't understand this idea that an entire universe would just realign itself and just adjust itself so that just a species that has existed for barely 300,000 years can get their so-called justice. Where was justice for the dinosaurs? Where was justice for all the species that have existed before humanity even knew that, before humanity ever existed? Where was justice for all those people? An asteroid came and wiped out the dinosaurs 66 million years ago, 60 plus million years ago. So where was justice for them? There's nothing like justice. Justice is a thing that human beings made up. So that's why we should take justice very seriously. We should try to hold people accountable, because without us, let's take the NSAS protest, for instance. During that period, there was a lot of quarrel between the civilians and the police. And even as bad as our police system is in Nigeria. When those guys were taken out, Leisure Mall around my area was ransacked, like wiped. That was because there was, who are you going to call? You want to call the police that you're quarreling with? You can't call them. Different stores, like if you came out the next morning, all the stores around that whole area were just wiped out. The places they couldn't get into were the places that were like very, very heavily fortified that would take too much time to get into, and maybe what you want to take out of there wouldn't be worth the struggle. So I don't see, it doesn't make any sense to me that the universe will align itself so that humans can get justice. We have to hold ourselves accountable. Has religion played a part in the past for us to guide us and others? Yes, but I think, especially now, okay, so let's look at something like slavery, for instance. Slavery has existed for a very long time throughout. In fact, every race of every different kind of race has been enslaved. No race is exempt from that. It wasn't religion that freed humans from slavery. There is no religion on this planet that you can point to that would say anything contrary to slavery. In fact, for most of human civilization, slavery was the default. There are even rules in the Bible. I will talk about the Bible because I grew up Christian. I don't know about other religions, but like even in the Bible, there are rules to how you should treat your slaves. So, I mean, there are things, if you can say in the Bible that homosexuality is like no, you can say homosexuality no. Why couldn't Jesus just say, you know what, slavery? No. Why couldn't he just say that? Black people were slaves in America for like 400 plus years. Like, where's justice for them? All those countless generations, somebody would be born a slave, would die a slave, his descendants would be slaves for 400 plus years until finally they were freed. Because Abraham Lincoln was a Christian, by the way, but he said, if slavery is not wrong, what else? Everything. He said, if slavery is not wrong, then nothing is wrong. That's what he said. So, even though most of the people at the time were religious, they couldn't say that it was the Bible that justified their freedom from slavery. It was secular thinking that allowed people to realize that, okay, this kind of injustice against our fellow man, no matter their skin color, no matter their gender, which corner of the world they come from, it's not fair. So justice is a thing that human beings have to take very seriously. We have to hold ourselves accountable, because if we don't, I mean.
That's very interesting. That's quite interesting. Now I'm going to remove that pin that I put on your...
I want to unpin me.
I'll unpin you now. In correlation to what he just spoke about, to justice, do you think that justice is man-made, or is it divine?
It's man-made. To be honest, it's man-made, you know. And even the religion, I mean, almost all the religion, apart from, I don't know so much about the Muslim religion, but the Christian religion, most of the laws, you know, let's start with the Moses law. If you look at these laws very well, they also align with the laws of almost every system. So the thou shalt not kill in the Bible, if you kill here, you don't need the Bible to do anything here. You are going straight to jail, and you might also die by hanging or by any other form. If you steal or if you commit some kind of crime here, you have a punishment assigned. And these crimes were also crimes that most of them were already recorded in the Bible. So yeah, I don't think there's any spiritual side to justice system. It's man-made, yeah, but there could be some divinity in it as well, you know, because even the Bible condemns this thing. Even where we come from, most of us who do traditional stuff, it is also condemned fully. So for me, I agree with him. It is man-made, and the legal system is something we need to, you know, prioritize. I always say this. For me, no traditional law, no religious law, no Christianity law is bigger than the legal law of a country. So whatever the law says in the country for me is priority because that's what controls all of us. If not, well, I mean, everybody's going to be loose.
That makes sense. And you see, when you mentioned earlier about the similarities between Christianity and tradition, religion, you mentioned something about abortion and how it's not right to abort a baby according to your traditional beliefs. And it made me furthermore understand this topic in the sense that many religions actually needed a way to curb these practices. They needed a legal system to curb the practices. But it was probably not enough then to bind people by only legality. So they had to take it up a notch and say, after you commit a crime, if we don't catch you legally, God will catch you. So I think that is also one of the ways that a lot of religions used to, what's the word now?
Curtail.
Yes, curtail people. So what I'm looking for, I can't exactly find it.
Or restrain.
Maybe later I'll find it. But okay, justify justice that is apart from this world, like spiritual justice. Because ordinarily, if you tell a person that if you kill, we are going to kill you. If the person escapes the law, the person is free. But if you tell someone that if you kill, even if we don't kill you, God will still kill you. So you are in a double bind now because you in your mind, even if you escape the law, or even after you die in this place, there's still another place that you are going to that. So I think that to a very large extent, it was also a way for ancient religions to curb people from going into very bad practices. But yes, let's move forward a little bit. And let's talk about a bit more secular. Is this your opinion that people can change? Or do you think their past mistakes should define them? So, let's talk about revenge / forgiveness. So when someone does something bad, let's not even assume that the person has committed a crime. Let's just assume that someone does something bad to you, like a friend swindles you of some very hard-earned money. What's your viewpoint on forgiveness / revenge? Do you think that that person can change? Or should you let those past mistakes define them? Yes. Yes. But would you entrust your property in that person's hands?
So that's it now. Even when Bible says affliction should not rise a second time. So now we have a clear. So the thing here is, Bible says forgive and forget, but we have no right to redefine it. But I think we say forgive, but do not forget. You know. So you stole from me. Like I'm doing business right now in millions with someone who swindled me long time ago. But I forgave him after many years and I said, okay, come back. And then we're doing almost the same business that he swindled me of. But I think he's a better person here because sometimes some people even engage in crime, not because they wanted, but sometimes because of miscalculation. So for instance, in this case, I gave him money to get me some fleet of cars, right? I don't know whatever he was doing. He misused the money, maybe hoping that another money would come from somewhere when he gave me time to deliver. And at the time the car was supposed to be delivered, he couldn't deliver the car. So he kept lying and lying upon lies until he was having too many issues. Then at some point, he now opened up that this is what happened. Oh, the money, this one happened, that one happened. So we stopped being friends for like 2 years. But somehow I wanted to buy another car. I saw a car he was advertising. I called him, I bought the car then for my dad. And right now I'm doing an importation. I called him and we've done like business for the past 1 week. So did he change? Yes. So I really did not try to dig into what happened then, you know. So for me, revenge is not supposed to be practiced because people sometimes hurt you or make this mistake sometimes out of pressure. Trust me, a lot are out of pressure. Is it right? No. But some of them do this out of pressure. So, forgiveness really is divine. So we just forgive the person. And then if you see the person has grown, everybody deserves a second chance.
Interesting. What's your opinion on this?
I would say it's a case-by-case situation. There are some people that obviously do bad things and they don't look remorseful. That's why we have the parole system for prisoners. People go to prison. After a few years, they say, okay, let's let him out on parole based on good behavior. We can see he's remorseful. We can see, so we can't always use someone's past to define them.
Yeah.
But again, we have to be very careful about the things we do because some stains, are not easily washed away. Like, for instance, if you go and do porn, for instance, your family might forgive you. Your father can take you back because you're his own. But like every other person outside, you have seen many porn actresses and actors that have died of drug overdoses because society just won't accept them. And at that point, they'll be like, okay, all the money I made, everything I did, it's pointless. So
I'm not aware of that now.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
They work really here in Lekki. I know that.
So basically, or maybe you have killed a lot of people, like someone like Hitler. Now, let's say Hitler was still alive. Like, how would you explain to people that, oh, I'm a changed person? I'm not more the person that hates Jews or thinks that my race or my countrymen are better than everyone else. It's going to be very hard for someone like Hitler to convince other people that he has changed. So it also depends on the gravity of what you did as well. So let's say, for instance, now, you go and steal meat from your mom's pots. It's still stealing, but it's on a very small scale. Stealing. So your mom can, beat you a little bit and say, okay, you know what, don't do that again and, all is well. But if your mom puts you in charge of the business and you swindle millions of naira, and even if she forgives because you're a child, next time she might not be so confident to
trust you.
So I think it's a case-by-case thing, and also remorse that the person shows matters, and also I think, the gravity of the crime.
That's very interesting. Very interesting. Because that actually weighs in on a certain personal issue. So you guys have helped me on that. Thank you very much. For people that believe in karma, do you think it makes them passive? Because the belief of karma is the belief that everything would balance itself out. So do you think that the belief of karma makes people passive and waiting for the universe to sort things out?
Yeah, so the karma stuff, if I understand the question well, someone hurts me and I feel like, okay, there's no problem, he's going to get.
Yes. Like how many of us believe that Abacha's family will become poor. Why you
so karma again. I think there's a misconception here. I don't know if it's from you or I don't know if it's other people, but karma doesn't really means that exactly what you did will happen to you. So you could embezzle money and your life is cut short. You could embezzle money and your children become sick. That's the karma belief. So you don't need to be poor, but you might not have peace. That's the karma belief. Trust me, I've been close to a lot of politicians. I wouldn't want to put a number to this, but a lot of these politicians do not sleep at night.
I'm going to counter you there and say a lot of my friends also don't sleep at night and they're not doing politics.
No.
Officer Wos does not sleep. No. Shank does not sleep.
He's working. That's work.
It's not every time work. Sometimes it's just thinking.
Yes. So, okay. So now that's positively not sleeping at night because I don't sleep at night. Because as creators, we are writing at night. We are trying to, solve the internet to see what other people are doing. So, but the notion I'm trying to clear here is that karma doesn't necessarily mean that exact thing you did is what happened to you. So that's the part I want to clear first. Okay. Then people waiting for things to happen to people. I feel like it doesn't work that way. So that you committed you hurt me, and then I'm going to chill and say someday you're going to get hurt too. How do I even know that you get hurt? How do I know when you get hurt? People can be passing through a lot and they are looking at you and smiling. So you think that they are fine, but they are passing through a lot. So I don't feel like waiting for the universe to balance things or make it happen for you. It will give you satisfaction. You can wait forever. So if someone hurts you, for me, I feel like if it's something that needs to go legal or you report to the appropriate authorities, you do. But if not, you move on. For me, if you hurt me most times, if I cannot beat you, I'll leave it.
If you cannot beat the person, okay, that's a very good point that you mentioned.
No, I'm Karma. I become straight.
I think at this point, the Karma thing has become like very convoluted, and I think that's the problem with a lot of this spiritual stuff is that like it's very hard to put it in a simple definition that people can understand. Like for instance now, on one hand, karma surely is a thing that happens, and on the other hand, it's also a thing that you shouldn't wait for. So it's a bit confusing at that point. I would say that it's just life sometimes isn't fair, you know. As they say, the strong do what they will, the weak endure what they must. You know, so it's just the way life is. This whole karma thing is not a thing that happens in real life. You might say this person's life was cut short, but there are poor people who are suffering, who their lives are still cut short.
True.
As I've said before, I've given a few examples, but some of these people, you say, okay, I don't know what's happening in their family. There are a lot of things happening. There's something happening in every family. No family is free of something not happening to them. So that's just generally the way life is. So it's very hard to pinpoint and say, okay, this is what
the exact karma.
This is exactly what karma is. So that's some of the problems I have with some of these spiritual concepts. Like, for instance, astrology now, which is absolute nonsense, is a thing that people believe. And for instance, now I'm a twin, right? Me and my twin, apart from the fact that we are unidentical twins, right? Our personalities are very different. So if everybody that falls within one group of people, like let's say for instance now,
Leos.
I will be under Cancer, for instance, I and my brother should have the same characteristics, right? But we are like very different people, different talents. He's a fitness trainer. I'm into artistic stuff. He's a lot more outgoing than me. I'm a lot more introverted. So like, even I've done this experiment a lot with my friends and just with different people where I'll tell them, okay, you say you're a Capricorn or a Leo, a Gemini or whatever, and I'll read something from another one. Let's say you're a Gemini and I read something from Leo, and the person will say, yes, that's me. So, and if you check a lot of this astrology stuff, there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of overlap between two of them. So I don't understand how like some of these things work, and when you now ask them for justifications, these things now become even more and more complicated. So that's my issue with some of this spiritual stuff.
So I want to jump in.
Please.
So with that being said, you said that you believe in karma, and the question is, do you do good because of your belief in karma, justice, and retribution?
Okay.
And for him, why do you believe if karma doesn't exist? Why not just be the worst person ever? So those are the two questions.
All right. So, yeah, so, if I do good because of karma, now, will I say yes or no? I think to an extent, I'll say yes. Yes. Now, I want to state something very clear here. And I think these are a few things that might hurt the producer again. Now, I am not doing good to make heaven. I am doing good because I feel if I do good, I'm going to attract good things. And I feel when you do good, you have absolute peace of mind. You know, so I've done good over the years, and I feel like I've been attracting good things, and good people have always come my way. So if I've practicalized this and it's working for me, so I don't try to swindle people in business. if I have a business, I try to be as transparent as I am. And so I always feel like anybody who is doing business with me, even if sometimes it doesn't work that way, but I always feel like whoever is doing business with me, because I don't swindle people, will not swindle me. So yeah, do I get swindled sometimes? Yes. But most of the times I do not. So because I feel if I'm nice to people, people will be nice to me. If I see people, I want to greet, I want to smile, I want to be very receptive. And trust me, one of the things I have enjoyed in my life is reception. People don't need to know me. When I was in school, we could be like 7, 10 people standing here. Somebody is lost at some point and needs to ask a question. We'll be like 10 people here. They will call my attention. It got to a point, I think my year 2, people started saying, why always him? So, because my disposition is always happy, always smiling. And so everybody just sees me and they're happy as well. So for me, I strongly believe in whatever you give to the universe, it gives back to you. That's my opinion. And so for me, being good is because I just feel like good things will happen to me. I hear some people say, I'm good and bad things happen to me. I don't know how that works. It's possible. But I feel like if you do good, good things will happen to you. But please, let's not cross these things here with business. That you are a nice guy, that you give people food, you give people stuff here, and you don't do business with your brains, and you are not smart in business. You will fail. It doesn't mean that you are bad. Or it doesn't mean that the universe is not giving you good as well. It just means that you are not good in doing business. I don't know if I'm making sense.
That makes sense.
So people are there mixing up, he's such a nice man. Please, I don't know if we have time. Please, no matter how good you are, how philanthropic you may be, if you don't check your health, you don't exercise, you will die of health issue. It doesn't relate with your being nice or being good to people. There's health on its own. There's business on its own. There's marriage on its own. So that you are good doesn't satisfy a good marriage. So in all of this part of life, you have to be intentional and be good in all of them differently. So one good cannot override this other good. And so because of this one good you have done, everything in your life will be good. So for me, I am good because I believe karma is real. So I'm trying to be good in my marriage. I'm trying to be good in business. So I'm doing more research. I'm trying to be good in content. I'm trying to be good in this. I'm trying to be good in every area. I rest my case.
So I would like to ask,
if you like answer your own first before you ask me.
okay, let me answer my own first.
So why do you do good? Even though you don't believe in karma.
Okay, so the first thing obviously is empathy, right? So if anything has ever happened to you, why would you want to do that same thing to someone else, right? If someone has stolen from you before and you didn't like how it felt, why would you want to steal from someone else? I mean, anytime you steal from somebody, you're not exactly just taking that, whether it's money or it's somebody's property. You have to also consider that the blood and sweat someone puts in to buy that stuff. When I was in, I think SS1 or GS3, I can't quite remember. I remember I saved every single 200 naira my mom gave me to go to school for 2 terms to buy my first PlayStation 1. And I could just imagine, walking to school, not eating in school for 2 terms just to buy my first PlayStation 1 and someone stole it. So why would I want to do the same thing to someone else? You don't know what someone went through, to acquire that property or make that money. And some people, you see them, they look like they are doing well, but they are owing a bank 100 million. And he just came and swindled 10 million and you're like, he's not going to feel it. And the person's business is struggling, he's just trying to push forward. So that's one thing. And it goes to the golden rule, which we can even find in the Bible and almost every civilization. I don't think society can function without it, which is do unto those as they shall do unto you. Every society that becomes successful, when you want to create a society, when you want to stop being cavemen and you want to come together and create a functioning society, you have to say, okay, we have to create some laws that keep people in check. Whether it is you want to administer that law through religion or through the legal system or any other means, that has to be there. So I feel like people could do good because of if religion motivates you to do good, that's fine, and I champion it. But I feel like people who are good will be good irrespective of whether they are religious or they are not religious.
That's a very interesting dynamic that you just mentioned. That's a very interesting dynamic. Because I was going to ask, how does morals come to play in the absence of religion? And I think it's connected to the question that my producer asked you, because it's a common belief that religion preaches morals, or religion makes it possible for human beings to be moral. I don't necessarily agree to that. I think that the underlying nature of we humans, one way or another, exemplifies morality. I don't think at the natural state of a human being, his thinking is that he wants to kill another human being. But now, how do we tie that to karma? If there's no religion, imagine for a second that there was no religion. Do you think we'll have morals? Do you think people will feel the need to be moral at all?
Of course, we have countries where the vast majority of people there are not religious. Country like Iceland, they are like very peaceful people, very nice. I think if you go to China, for instance, China for the most part are not very religious. Yeah. And they are doing like very well. They are very hardworking people, very talented. And, you know, another thing again, another mistake I see a lot is where people believe that morality somehow is objective, because it's not, right? Morality is just like justice is a man-made concept, right? So, for instance...
It is?
Yeah, like for instance now, we talked about slavery. Slavery was like, very, like now it's very obvious to us that like slavery, no, don't do that. But for most of human civilization, it was not. Slavery was only outlawed like maybe 100 years ago or 200 years ago. I can't quite remember.
So if I can hear you, you're saying that some 200, 300 years ago, having slaves could be seen as being moral as well.
Yeah, it was like a normal thing. Even in the Bible, and
it was like buying a car.
It was like buying a car, and like.
So maybe in a few thousand years, cars would have.
Cars are not sentient beings, so we can't put the same value on them that we put on human beings. So like we can go through even just the way we treated women just 100 years ago. It's very different today. Right? Even when capitalism was a new thing and factories were coming up where children would work in factories, and like people just worked all day, all night, like non-stop every time. But the government had to step in at some point and say, you know what? No, we have to give people time to rest. There have to be labor laws and things of that nature, because if you just left it to businessmen, most of them just want to make money. So there has to be someone that will step in and say, no, like we can't do that. There has to be some regulations on how this thing would work. But just like 50, 100 years ago, that wasn't the case. Like now we're even experimenting with a 4-day work week in some countries. But I'm sure it's like a country like Nigeria now, if you tell your boss that, oh, let's work 4 days, they're like, are you out of your mind? But that's the same way there was a time when if you didn't come to work any day, maybe except from the Sabbaths depending on the country or religion that you adhere to, it was like crazy that you are assuming that people should work 5 days a week and rest on the weekends. It was like an insane idea. Just like monarchy as well, where like for the most of human civilization, a monarchy was like the default until like, I think mostly Western civilization was like, no, we can't do that anymore. All human beings are created equal, and, you know, those kind of nice concepts.
Very interesting. Yeah. Do you have some opinion?
So I agree with him. So, but, you know, just to add up, I think, morals or morality is just based on information. So it's based on what we were told. So information, to further enforce information, the Christian package moral inside the Bible. To further enforce morals in our places, the gods give the town criers the rules, which was made by them too, and put it out there. Just like the legal system too, they also put the stuff somewhere and put there and say it became a taboo if you did this, because every human being, for us who grew up in the village, you grew up in the village such that everybody sees there are free animals roaming around, and you could be hungry, so you want to steal. So stealing would have been a normal thing, but now you know if you steal, even if they didn't catch you, but the gods eyes are on you. And so you are restrained because of the information you got, that the God's eye are on you. And at some point they realized that the God was not actually seeing them. So people started stealing afterward, like a long time ago. But a lot of people, so it constrains us. So moral is not a religious thing. It's just that religion packaged it, and then Christianity basically owned it. Now this is not an attack on it again, but Christianity owned it. But it's an information. Everybody, if given an information in like the country you call, is it Iceland or so, and they are giving an information, you don't have to steal, you don't have to, this is going to happen. You don't need to be a Christian to know that this is a crime. So for me, I feel moral is not just it's not religion, it's information, And so we don't know which is right until the information is passed or that you don't have to do this thing.
That's very interesting. That's very, very interesting. Thank you very much. I want to ask this question as we begin to round off, because you mentioned earlier that you are Karma. I think you heard him when he said it.
Why are you always speaking on my why are you doing everything?
I think everybody heard you say you are Karma.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, is justice sweeter when it is served by faith or by human hands?
Okay, by human hands you mean?
Before now, when you say if you cannot beat some person.
Okay, so that was on a lighter mood. Yeah, but justice is better served when it's legal, meaning from the appropriate authority, because we can't take laws into our hands, But for me, if you offend me, I cut you off. I might not really come back to fight or stuff, but I'll tell you and I'll cut you off. So when I say I'm Karma, I was just kidding, but my own kind of Karma is we are done. Like we are done, especially depending on the weight of the gravity of what you did, So anybody that I had a personal conversation, I have somebody like a creator, probably she's going to come across this year. We were very good friends. We had a little fallout. She went on the internet and said so many things. We talked together as friends. About it today, she don't beg tire. This is about 4 years now. We can never be friends again. So that's me. So I cut you off because I can't even trust you again. Now these are kind of, so that's the kind of Karma I'm talking about. So if we do something, we run a transaction, and I see that you intentionally defrauded me, I might not come for the money again, but I will never give you the opportunity again. So that's the point of where I said I am Karma. But most appropriately, it should be the authority. But because I love my friend and I love some people, I'll just let you go, because even going to the authority is almost eating my time. I'm going to be losing more, so I'll just let you go. Because
of the kind of authority that we have in Nigeria. So anyways, I think that your answer to that is served by human hands, because you cutting off the person or reporting to the authority is still human hands. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think either way, if justice comes, I don't think Karma is a thing. So either way, it doesn't make any difference to me. I feel like if somebody gets old and you say, oh, the person is now sick, I mean, all old people get sick. Like,
I've never seen, like that in this man said.
I've never seen a 100-year-old person that all the organs in his body are functioning, his or her body is functioning 100%. It's just not a thing that happens, right? So, I don't know how Karma will come into play there, but I would hope that any system anybody is living in, any country, any nation, that the government or the judicial system would be effective enough to, hold people accountable. I think that's the most important thing, because we are all we have, and depending on spiritual forces, it's not a thing that we can hold on to, because these things are so inconsistent, and you can't really tell which is which. Like now, I believe you have defined like 100 different kinds of Karma now, so we don't
you don't know which one is coming.
We don't know which one is which anymore. So joy is coming. So I just feel like that's why I think it's very important that when we go out to vote, or when we're advocating for certain things, we're advocating for things that will benefit society at large and ourselves as well.
Thank you very much. I really love my guests on this episode. The both of them are pretty much free thinkers. as much as they have their religious backgrounds, I think like I like to describe myself these days. There are people who have updated their worldviews despite the religious backgrounds that they have. It's my opinion that all worldviews can very pretty much be updated. I mean, there's nothing wrong with what we believe in, but I also think that it's okay to examine the great part of other beliefs and see if we can pick one or two and just add and just have like a iPhone 18.3 lively 19.4. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have comments. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please leave your comments, share your sentiments. Remember that all opinions are valuable, and we are not divided. We are just different. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Picture time.
Picture time.